this here is a very difficult problem for most students because it involves fractions. If you notice here, we have one fraction is equal to another. It's called proportion we're trying to solve here. What we have is two denominators. We have to get rid of those denominators. To do that, you have to find the least common denominator of the 4 and the 2, because the 4 and the 2 are your denominators. Well, the least common denominator is the smallest number that these two will divide into. Well, 4 will divide into 4, 2 will divide into 4, and that's the smallest number. So 4 is your least common denominator. This technique says that you have to multiply both sides by the least common denominator. So here we're multiplying by 4, and here we're multiplying by 4. When you multiply by 4, you can do a little canceling. The 4 will cancel into 4, and the 2 will cancel into 4. You can barely see the lines that go through it. Matter of fact, I can't even see them here, but I've got these canceled out. And when you cancel 2 into 4, you're going to leave a 2. So this is really 2 over 1. So what we have now is nothing here because it's canceled. So we have 5 times x minus 1. Here we only have a 2. So we have 2 times the 3x plus 1. The next thing we need to do is we need to combine the 3 times 2 and get 6. Now we can use our distributive law on both sides. Take 5 times x and get 5x, and we move this on down, and we take 5 times 1 and get 5. 6 times x and get 6x, 6 times 1 and get 6. I messed up and put that step in between. Now we have the same simple type problem like we have always. We have to get rid of a variable that's added to both sides. This side has 5x added to it, this side has 6x added to it. So I get the smallest one and remove it. I'm going to remove the 5x. Since 5x has that invisible plus sign out front, I'm going to take and subtract 5x from both sides. 5x subtracted from this side, 5x subtracted from this side. Well, the 5x will cancel 5x out and just leave the negative 5. The 5x will subtract from 6x and leave you just 1x down here. Now, since we have just one variable on one side, we have to remove what's added to our variable. 6 is added, so to get rid of something that's added, you always do the opposite. We're going to subtract a 6 from both sides. Okay, if I subtract 6 from 6, that leaves me nothing, so I just have x. A negative 6 and a negative 5 gives me a negative 11. So I have negative 11 is equal to x, and I always need to put my variable first, so I just switch the sides. That's called your symmetric property, and you get x is equal to negative 11. So that's how you work this problem. But you need to remember that if you have fractions on both sides, the technique that's involved is to multiply both sides by the least common denominator. When you multiply both sides by the least common denominator, what you end up with is no fractions involved in the problem. And that's what we're trying to do